Welcome back to the Box of Delights game channel. We're playing Memoir 44 and we're about to start our first turn of the game. On our turn we need to play a command card. This allows us to command our units, and it allows us to command our units to move and then battle. So what usually these cards do is they allow us to select a certain number of units. These are called tactic cards, and generally they're more powerful and have more advanced effects. So this one says issue an order to all infantry units in one section. Right? These are section cards, and each of these will normally allow us to order 1, 2 or 3 or all of our units in one particular section. What's a section? Let's have a look. The game map is divided into 3 sections. We have a left section, a centre section and a right section. And this is from our perspective looking up the board here. From the Axis perspective looking down, this is their left, this is the centre and this is their right. Okay, so this is our left, centre, right. So for example, if you have a section card here, command card, which tells us to order units in the centre section, that means we can order 1 unit within this centre section. Between each section, running up the middle of the board, is this red line. Right, so this divides here, in this instance, the right section from the centre section. Now your terrain cards are going to potentially cover some of those lines, but you know they're there, right? There's red lines running up to divide each of the sections. So over here we can see the same red line dividing the left-hand section from the centre section from our perspective. Now in this example you can see that this terrain tile here is on the left of the red line, so it's in the left section. This tile here, this hex here, for example, is on the right-hand side of this line, so it's in the centre section here. This hex here has the red line cutting right through the middle of it. Okay, and this is the line dividing the left and the centre sections. What this means is this hex here is in both the left-hand section and the centre section. So if we have a command card that tells us to command a unit in the left section, we could command this unit. If we have another card which tells us to command a unit in the centre unit, we could also command this same unit. Okay? So to recap, the game board has 3 sections. From our perspective this is left, centre, right. From the other player it's left, centre, right. Okay? 3 sections, and each of our command cards will be commanding units in one or more of those sections. So let's decide what we want to do. Find a command card that fits, and we'll play the first turn of the game. This German artillery is going to give me some grief. I want to try and take this artillery out. You know, there's no rush here. The Germans are dug in. I want to try and take out that artillery. I don't have a great many cards to order units on the left flank. I've got 1 here, which is an infantry, which is an assault, which says order all units on the left flank. So that's one helpful one. And I've got this infantry assault card, which allows me to order all infantry units in one section. And it says I can move them 2 hexes and still battle. Now normally an infantry unit can move 1 hex and battle, or move 2 hexes and not battle. Okay, so that might be useful. On the other hand, our special forces here, and what makes them special is they're just like normal infantry units, but they can move 1 hex in battle, or they can move 2 hexes in battle. Remember, without this shield, if they weren't special forces, they would only be able to move 1 hex in battle, or move 2 hexes and not battle. Okay? Remember, we have this handy card here which helps us with movement and battle, and what each of these different units is capable of. I think I'm going to use this assault because it means I can move my tanks up as well. And it's all units. So I can take an early stab on the left flank here and try and gain some momentum quickly to knock out that artillery. So I'm going to play this assault section command card, order all units on the left flank. So all of these units are going to be ordered. So the second part of the turn, once you've decided which units you're going to order, is to decide whether you want to move them or not. So this unit here, I'm going to move 2 hexes into the forests here and not battle. Some terrain will restrict your movement, Heels don't have any movement restrictions, so 2 movement here is absolutely fine. And for these infantry units, I'm going to move them into these forests here. My commandos, I'm going to move 2 spaces here. And this infantry unit, I'm going to move 2 across here. Now remember, none of these units can battle because they've moved 2 spots. Tanks, on the other hand, can move and battle, and they can move 0 to 3 spaces. These tanks are moved in 2 spots here, and these tanks 2 spots here. Now that we've ordered and moved our units, we can get to battle, and I get to battle with the special forces. Remember, they can move 2 and still battle. That's the point for them being special. So our commandos are going to attack, and our tank units here are going to attack. Now to battle, we've got to use our battle dice. The number of battle dice we get to use is determined by our range. So for example, a standard unit next to an enemy unit will use 3 battle dice. If we're battling a unit 2 hexes away, we use 2 battle dice. And if we're battling a unit 3 hexes away, we'll use just 1 battle dice. An armour unit is able to use 3 battle dice when attacking a unit either 1, 2 or 3 hexes away. Artillery use 3 dice when attacking a unit that is either 1 or 2 hexes away, 2 battle dice attacking a unit which is either 3 or 4 hexes away, and only 1 battle dice when attacking a unit which is either 5 or 6 hexes away. You cannot attack a unit which is beyond your range. Now that we've determined that each of these R3 units here have range on this German infantry unit, we can battle with them. But the next thing we need to do is figure out if we have line of sight or not. Now you may be wondering why I didn't push these tanks up even further. Perhaps, I don't know, move this armour unit here. That's because that would have blocked the line of sight for this armour unit. So this armour unit here would not have been able to attack this German infantry unit. Okay? To have line of sight, there mustn't be one of your friendly or enemy units in between. So this infantry unit here, for example, does not have line of sight on the German infantry unit because this unit here blocks. And likewise, if I'd have put this artillery unit here, alright, there's line, you may say, well, it has line of sight, it's going down this line. It doesn't. These 2 units together are closing that line of sight. Okay? So as we stand, all 3 of our units have line of sight on that German infantry unit. Bang, bang, bang. There's nothing blocking the way. Certain terrain tiles will block line of sight, as well as units of different types. So our infantry unit, our commandos here, they're only 1 hex away from the enemy, so they're going to use 3 battle dice. When you roll the dice, these are the different sides that you can see. So if you roll this blue infantry sign, that means you score a hit on an infantry. If you hit attacking anything other than infantry, that's a miss. The black armour symbol. So if you're attacking a tank unit, an armour unit, this would be a hit. Anything else is a miss. If you throw this grenade here, then this is a hit. And it's a hit on infantry, armour or artillery. This green star here is a miss. Alright, there may be some tactical command cards that make use of that, but in general, you roll a green star, that's a miss. And this purple flag here is called a retreat. It's not a hit, but it will force the enemy that you're attacking to retreat, potentially. We'll explore it when we roll that dice, and we'll see what happens. Right, so the first unit I'm going to order is this special commander unit here. So I've got my 3 battle dice. Now, there's another thing we need to do. This German infantry unit here is sitting in a forest. Right? Now, a forest will give this German unit, infantry unit, some level of cover. Alright? And these terrain cards will tell you how that affects your battle dice. What it says here, and these little symbols at the bottom explain this for you. If you're an infantry unit attacking a unit in a forest, you use 1 less battle dice. if you're an armour unit attacking a unit in a forest, you use 2 less battle dice. So, my commanders don't use 3 battle dice, they only use 2 because of the forest cover, okay? Likewise, the armour here will use just 1 battle dice because of the cover that this forest gives that German infantry unit. I'm going to use this little jar here to rub my dice in, so I've got my 2 dice. There they go. So this is commanders attacking this infantry unit. Let's see what we get. We have 1 infantry and 1 flag. To resolve the battle, the first thing you do is you resolve these first, these hits. So I'm attacking an infantry unit, this is 1 hit. And to resolve that, you simply remove 1 figure from this unit. Okay, so we've reduced this unit now to 3 infantry figures. Once all those figures are gone, then the unit's destroyed. Okay, now we have to resolve this flag. The flag means retreat. That means this infantry unit now must retreat 1 hex back towards his own line. This line here. So that gives this infantry unit the option of moving either here or here. Okay, he can't stay where he is, he has to retreat, and he has to retreat either here or here. So 1 hex back towards his own line. So the Axis player has to make that decision. So I'm going to cut away now and I'm going to let that decision be made, and then when we come back you'll see where the Axis have decided to retreat to. Okay, the Axis player has decided, I, my son, to retreat back here into this hex. Now that's a good decision, because what that means is, although I can battle now with my tanks, forests will block line of sight. So although this tank unit here does not have any units blocking its line of sight, this forest is now blocking the line of sight to this infantry unit. So neither of my tanks, actually, even if my commanders weren't here, this forest, if I draw a line from here to here, that line would cut through these forests. So the German infantry has suffered 1 casualty, but they've retreated out of line of sight behind this forest. Once you've resolved your battle dice in a battle, the next thing you can do is you can, if you're in what they call in this game close assault, remember this infantry unit was here, if you're adjacent to the unit you're attacking, then you're what's called in close assault. In close assault, they can take ground. So as this German infantry unit retreated, I could, if I choose, push my commandos into the forests. As it goes, I'm going to do that. For this armour unit here, we do have line of sight on the German artillery unit sitting in this town. And it's within range also. 1, 2, 3. Remember, our armour range is 3. 1, 2, 3. This wire here doesn't block line of sight. This sandbags here doesn't block line of sight. We do have line of sight on this artillery. Just 1 little dice. I'd have a retreat flag. But remember, the sandbags mean that the German artillery unit can ignore the first flag that gets rolled. So we completely miss that artillery unit with our roll. The last thing I should do is draw a new command card. And the card we've drawn is Artillery Bombard. This would be a good card if we commanded any artillery. Right, that's our turn over. Now it's time for the Axis player to take their turn.